Progression video number 2, gear. Let's just cut to the chase. How to get it, how to level it efficiently, and how you should gear your characters. Let's start with how to get it. How to get the gear, there's a couple different ways. Let's start with Arena first. Now, with Arena, you can do a couple different ways. What you want to do is farm Conquest as much as possible. With Conquest is the rewards that you get from winning or losing. You get a very small amount if you lose, so hopefully you win. So the key to that is it depends on what you want to do. If you want to set a really good defense and just try to have the highest rank possible so that you get higher league rewards, you get the promotion rewards, you get the weekly rank rewards, which is higher. The higher the rank you are, the more rewards you get, okay? With that comes increased difficulty. Now what you can do is set a weaker defense and just set like one person in your defense so that you pretty much automatically lose and you stay at a lower rank and your opponents are easier, so you can essentially just farm the arena for conquest points non-stop so you can go into the shop and get the gear. And I will move over to the gear to show you. In the shop, in the Conquest tab, there's 4 pieces of gear that you should definitely buy with Conquest points. Now, they're 1,200 Conquest points each, but you can get that very easily, especially if you do the weak defense route and just farm Arena for Conquest points and use your Arena battles and wings, or whatever you want to call them, tokens, whatever, as much as possible, okay? With the weapon and ring, the weapon and the ring are more for like a bruiser set. They have crit rate, they have attack, they have health, they have some resistance, they have defense. That's the helmet, and here's the ring. And so that's for more like a bruiser type. You can put it on some like a normal nuker to give them some survivability, but it really just depends on your substats too, and how the RNG gods have when they play with you, what the subs come out to be when you roll it out to plus 15. So it just depends, but the weapon and the ring are more for a bruiser set. Now the chest and the helm is more for like a support tank set. They have speed, health, defense. There's no crit on it, so they're more for like a support type that is not needing to crit, and kind of crit is always geared towards damage dealers, unless you have super godlike gear and you start putting crit on tanks. So definitely make sure to farm this gear. Now the arena season ends on February 20th, and I'm pretty sure, I think they said that these are going to reset into different pieces of gear, so definitely make sure to get that before the 20th of February. Second place to get gear is the Labyrinth. So you have 3 tokens. You get a new token every single day. You can buy some from the shop, one from the guild shop, one from the regular shop. But you definitely don't want to be stuck at 3 and then you don't use any, and the next day you don't get your extra Labyrinth tokens. So make sure if you're at 3 of 3 and it's the end of the day, make sure to at least get 1 lab in so that you're not wasting days, because lab has very good gear drops, especially for early game, mid game, until when you get mid game, then you can do the raids to get a little bit better gear, but labs drop pretty good gear for whatever status you are, and also it drops the Labyrinth tokens, which I'll show you in the shop again, is very useful. With those Labyrinth tokens, you want to spend them in 2 different ways. It really just depends on where you are in the game. If you need a bunch more rings and necklaces to gear up your characters, then definitely go ahead and use the equipment chest, the level 22 to 60 accessory chest. It's all random. It could be any type of different levels. It could be even in the 20s up to the 50s or even 60. So definitely make sure to spend it on the accessories first. If you finally get a good ring or a good neck, then definitely use the Labyrinth tokens towards the greater ring charms or the greater necklace charms to level them up, and I'll explain that here in a little bit. Now we have the secret shop. So the secret shop, definitely grind out leveling as much as possible and fast as possible till you hit level 50. Once you hit level 50, your secret shop level 10 is maxed out, and that's when it starts dropping the higher level rings and accessories to the level 85s. Okay, so with the secret shop, the quicker you do it, the quicker the chances for gear. So the more you farm, pocket farm, whatever the case may be, get to level 50, max it out, you have better chances at gear. Now, if you're free to play and you're scarce or low on sky stones, you get 30 sky stones a day for just doing daily missions. I would at least try to refresh the shop 10 times with that 30 sky stones that they pretty much give you for free just by playing the game, just to see if you can get quicker, get better chances of gear. See, here's a speed set. I wouldn't necessarily buy it for 100,000 gold because of that flat stat. If that had a different percentage stat, I would definitely buy it and try to test it out and level it. It's a lot of gold to be investing into a flat stat and have the RNG gods give you 3 rolls in flat stats. So definitely not a buy for me. Here's a green glove. I wouldn't buy anything necessarily lower than purple unless you're really needing some kind of glove, and if it's a blue, both of the substats are percentages. That's the only time, if you desperately need some kind of stat percentage in that specific piece of gear, that's the only time I would buy that. So definitely just try to shoot for purple or above. For the next area that you can get gear is hunts and then crafting after the hunts. So with hunts, you have gear drops, you have gold, and you have material. Okay, try to shoot for the highest hunts you can that you can do on auto at 100%. If you're failing to do hunts, you're just wasting time. You're not wasting energy, because if you don't waste energy if you die, so that's a great thing, right? But you're wasting time, and time is money. Time matters. I always say time is money. Time definitely matters. If your only success rate on auto is 50%, there's really no reason to farm it. The best way to go about it, if you can play the game manually, and you can beat it manually 100% of the time, then definitely do that. But if you're autoing, I wouldn't suggest that. I would just go one stage down, farm when you can. I only suggest farming hunts at least when you get to stage 9. Anything below that, you might as well just farm up fodder to 6-star or something, and then get gear from the labs or wherever else you can get gear from that I explained in this video. Stage 9 is really the first goal that you should be shooting towards, and that's what I recommend. But when you farm the hunts, like I said, auto 100%, highest you can go. Okay, shoot for Wyvern early game. I wouldn't worry about any of the other hunts until later, because Wyvern gives you speed set, it gives you effectiveness set, and it gives you a crit set, and those 3 things early game and mid game and even end game for speed sets anyway, but early and mid, it's very important to have those 3 sets, and I'll kind of explain to you why later in this video. Now with crafting is super expensive and it takes a lot of materials. Okay, I would save up all your materials until you actually put your Orbuses, the Breath of Orbuses, into Extend Workshop, which is reducing the gold required by 30% and reducing resources required by 30%, and giving your items a higher chance to be epic or heroic. Okay, if you don't have 3 out of 3 out of these three things, which I always recommend to level these up first in the sanctuary, because you want to get good gear as quick as possible, then I wouldn't craft if you don't have 3 out of 3 in those things. Now I know there's a lot of people talking about how it's super expensive, and it is 70,000 gold for flat stat main stats. It's blue, so it's horrible. Okay, and that's actually a really good piece of gear right there, so I will take that. But it's just too expensive. It should be at least cut in half. I mean, it's just too much, and we all know that. I mean, I'll try to blow out some crafts here, because I have about 3 more, I think, and see if we actually get any good things from it. We did get one. This one's okay if it rolls in the health, and we'll see what that 4th substat is. But so far, I mean, out of all that, I mean, it's not worth it. It's too expensive. I did get one piece of gear, I'll take it, but definitely needs to lower the guild requirement on that gold I said guild, gold requirement. Next place to get gear, and should be one of your main goals into getting these pieces of gear, is Abyss. So floor 32, 33, 34, and 36, 37, and 38. You will be getting a full lifesteal set, and it's item level 50s. So it's very good early game, and early game you can get there pretty easily as long as you're building the right comp. If you follow my how to 6-star video, you can easily get to these floors that way. But definitely should be one of your first goals, is getting this lifesteal set for your farmer. Okay, now the next goal should probably be around 49. So when you get to 49 and kill 49, you'll be getting crafting essences. So you would have got 300 there on 48, 47, and 47, 48, and 49. You're getting 300 crafting sets for Withering Golem and Banshee, the crafting sets. So you can craft some gear there, which, you know, RNG, you probably won't get anything good, but that's just another way to get it. Next goal would be to clear all the 50s up until and clear 58. Now I'm still at 58 and I haven't touched Abyss in a very long time, and that is for me because I want to record a video on floor 58 because this is one of the hard stops for a ton of people. And back in the day, a couple weeks ago, I was stuck on floor 58 too. However, I want to do a video about it and to help people out and complete that. So that's probably going to be one of my next videos, is to clear floor 58. And I wish you could go back into these floor and replay it, even if you can't, you know, get any rewards from it. I wish you could still go back and replay it to try to help people and show how to beat it. Maybe they'll implement that in the future, but that'll be my next video for 58. So definitely get up to at least floor 58, and then there's actually more good gear later down the line too. Level 85 lifesteal set. That's later on, but definitely a great place to get good starter gear is Abyss. Last but not least, the last place to check for gear is any event that comes up. Sometimes in the exchange shop, they will have like a piece or two of pretty decent gear that you can buy from the exchange shop. So definitely check all of your events and make sure that if there is gear to definitely buy it, because all the substats are usually really good too. How to level gear efficiently. So first, let's start with adventure. While you're multitasking, like I talked about in our first video, first progression video anyway, while you're farming adventure, while you're multitasking, you're going to get items like for the green pieces of everything except for the ring and the neck, okay? You'll also be getting some lesser charms of a certain item. So with these, you will be able to level up your equipment. Now, what I typically do is I usually farm food so I can 6-star something, all up until my inventory gets full. Once my inventory gets full, I level up some gear. The next whole round of farming fodder, when my inventory is full, then I will sell off all of the gear that I've accumulated in these adventures, all the green, the good helmets, the values, the good values, or whatever you can call them. Green, I call them green, okay? But then I sell off all the equipment, and then farm some more fodder, use all that equipment to level up some more gear, etc. Because you need gold to level up gear. You need gear to level up gear, which is kind of stupid to me. I think you should only need gold, but who am I to say? So that is really the best efficient way when you're farming food and farming adventure, and then you just rinse and repeat that. As a side note too, like I said, randomly you'll be getting these lesser charms that drop in the adventure. If you have a specific piece of gear that you want to maximize on one of your characters, then definitely level that one. However, when you're farming Abyss, when you're farming Hunt, when you're farming Lab, you can't really farm Abyss, right? But when you're farming Hunts and Labs, you'll be getting pieces of gear like this. So Destruction with 3 pretty good substats, and you want to find out what that 4th is. Always at least level it up to +3 to see exactly what it is. It's going to cost 24,000 gold. You'll be able to see, and look, that is a pretty decent starting item level 60 pieces of a gear. So I will definitely go ahead and level this up to see what it's going to turn out to, because Destruction set is definitely like a mid and end game gear set, and you definitely want to go ahead and if you get a really good set, put it on one of your best nukers, because it's going to do a ton of damage. Now, the first roll, RNG, of course, goes into health. You know, survivability isn't that bad, you know, but I always at least level these things up to level 9 just to see. I got a sub roll of 1 speed, so barf. But I mean, those 4 substats on this piece of gear is pretty much what you want to shoot for overall. The rolls I didn't get were good. The health roll was good, but it was in health percentage, so we'll see how that goes. But that's pretty much just a little side note. Say there was a piece of gear that you actually tried to level up and to see what the last substat is, or whatever the rolls were into, and it starts rolling in the flat stats, okay, and you just want to get rid of it. Don't sell it. You want to feed it off into a new piece of gear, or whatever other piece of gear you're leveling up. If you sell it, you're not going to get much for it, but if you get more benefit from actually feeding it to something else, because now that +5, feeding it into something else, a different piece of gear, gives you a higher experience, and now I will be able to turn this piece of gear into +3 from a +5 failed piece of equipment. For artifact leveling, I talked about this in a friendship video, but use the friendship bookmarks. Once you get a ton of them, and I've already spent it because I got a new artifact. But if you just summon a whole bunch of friendship summons and use those level 1, level 2 artifacts that you get from it and level them into the artifact, you can get it pretty high pretty quickly just by using friendship points. I mean, what else are you using friendship points besides energy and flags, right? So you might as well use it for something. Plus you get level 5 2-star champions to level up to max level, so you can make 3 stars. I talked about the ancient coins before, but definitely when you have pieces of gear, of rings and necklaces that you want to specifically target to level up, definitely use your ancient coins from your lab runs and buy the greater rings and the greater necklaces. You're going to get a ton of experience that way. I talked about this in the farming video that I just did, how to 6-star, but definitely if you're trying to specifically target rings and necklaces again, go ahead and farm the highest level Rose Apostle you can, while farming leveling up 3 pieces of fodder, okay? Now, the drop rate on the graders are horrible, like I said before, but you get a ton of lessers, and I've leveled up so many rings and necklaces this way. It's a great way to do it. This is the only challenge that I would ever recommend to farm, and I always do it when it's open. Alright, now on to the last subject of the gear progression video, is how to gear. Now, this highly depends on the character but here's some basic principles, right? So overall stats, okay. Early game, don't worry too much about gear sets. Yes, they are super helpful, okay? And when I mean gear sets early game, I mean the 4-piece sets. It's very helpful, but early game, you're not going to have the great substats that you can in order to be able to use those 4-piece sets specifically, okay? So what I mean by that, overall stats is really what matters in this game. Now with my haste, he doesn't have a force set on him. He has 2 crit sets and a broken set. I'm looking for a hit chance speed boot, but that's all I can deal with right now, and that'll give me a good boost in my effectiveness what I need for haste. But here's the basic overall stuff, okay? So for tanks, and specifically with tanks with debuffs, you definitely want to focus on, in this specific order, like HP, defense, efficiency, speed, and then resist, okay, in that specific order. The farther you go down that list of prioritize is pretty much where you are in mid to end game, okay? Early game, you're not going to have super fast, super tanky, very accurate and efficient debuffer tank, okay? So this game is a grind, and you have to be patient, and you have to just play the game and it's really in 3 different categories: early, mid, and late. So with tanks without debuffs, just make them super tanky. If they have some kind of at least one debuff, then maybe get some efficiency, but efficiency and resistance kind of go in the same. Then go for speed, and then whatever, and then maybe some crit, because some of the tanks actually do damage based off their HP. So if they're critting, that's going to be an end game gear. I mean, that's end game stats if you're super tanky and have like 85% crit. Okay, so for nukers, haste for example. Okay, I kind of take this as fire, water, and nature, because the neutral elements of dark and light, you definitely want to try to get max crit, just because they don't have an element advantage. If you go for fire, water, or nature, you definitely want at the least 85% crit, because you're usually taking fire against nature or water against fire, so you get that element advantage and that element advantage crit hit chance. Okay, so definitely go for 85%. I'm someone who likes guaranteed crits, so I always, against fire anyway, so I can take fire against fire and nature. So I always try to shoot for 100% when I can. Once you get to that, and this is straight at nukers, DPS that don't have any debuffs, they're kind of just like Kisei or someone who doesn't have debuffs is just a straight nuker. Go for at least 85% crit. Go for attack, then go for speed, then go for crit damage, and then survivability. I always prioritize those in that order, because I feel like speed is more important than crit damage. That is because if you're not taking turns, and this is not talking about team comp, if you're not taking turns, you're not doing damage. So definitely go for those stats in that order. Once you get, people like Shadow Rose, or you use Lots with his skill 2 to instantly make someone go, then you can talk about crit damage, or using Tywin getting the crit buff and the attack buff. People like that, team comp is just as important as gear and stats, so just go about it that way, in that priority. For speed nukes like Sid, definitely go for at least 85% crit again, speed set with speed boots, and then prioritize into crit damage or attack, whatever stats you can get the most. Both of them pretty much equal out. And then go survivability. DPS with utility such as haste, go for that crit. Then the speed boots for sure, because you want him applying debuffs or whatever that utility that DPS does. Effectiveness, and then go into attack, crit damage. Okay, my next step with haste is to get that efficiency, effectiveness. It's not efficiency, effectiveness boots for speed, so I can get. I want preferably 55% effectiveness for Wyvern. Now there's it's always talked about accuracy versus resistance, right? The Wyvern has 70% resistance. There's an innate 15% resistance. They're going to resist no matter what. If you have 100% accuracy and they have 0 resistance, they still have a chance to resist 15%. Now, I always say I still think you need 70% accuracy, because I feel like that inert or innate or hidden passive of 15% resistance is after their original resistance. I don't think it's added into that. That's something that I asked of Smilegate and emailed them or messaged them or whatever you call it, and I still haven't got a reply back, so I'm just waiting on that. But I would shoot for at the least 55% just to be safe. Preferably I go for 70 for effectiveness. So supports, or utility or support damage dealers, people like that bring more to the team than just damage, you definitely want to go for that speed set with the speed boots, then go into effectiveness if they have debuffs. If not, then just go into survivability or crit, or if they're like a utility nuker, speed, attack, crit damage, crit. Things like that. It just depends on the character. You can't really talk about characters too much. I'm going to definitely do videos on specific characters in the future, like I did with Bologna. or Belna, however you want to call it. But that is what is going to be in store in the future for specific characters. My next how to gear, how to build will be Assassin Cartula, or Tartula, Corula, whatever. Is a J silent? I don't know. But that'll be my next, and I'm going to do some tests with, you know, like a bruiser build, attack build, a nuke build, but he has a lot to deal with, so it just depends on the character. For healers, you definitely, if it's a frontline tank, then to make them like tanky as possible. I know I have Angelica here, 5 stars. She's going to be 6 tier shortly, but she's super slow. But I have Candlestick on her to reduce the cooldowns. But 10,000 health, you want as much health and defense and really resist that you can on the front line, and then go into speed. But if it's a speed healer, you definitely want the speed set with speed boots, and then try to get as tanky as possible. And just to note too, you, when you have a speed healer, you need really good gear, because you need the speed set and you need speed boots, and if you do that, you're making them very squishy. So I mean, you really need mid-game to end-game gear to make the speed healer the most efficient. And again, you need support to support her, so it definitely depends on team comp too. So that's part 2 of my progression series of gear. You know, how to get it, how to level efficiently. Why can't I talk today? And then how you should be gearing your characters. If you like my content, please like and subscribe, and I will get out part 3, and I may even do a part 4, just depending on if I have another idea for it. I kind of do, but I just want to write some things down first. So till the next video, I'll check you. Peace.